Hi. I can't get enough of this magazine. Scott Taylor with the axe. Jeremy Withings from the Transcona Nationals Midgets. Carl Volney, running back, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Oh, it's What the Ref, and I'm with the ref, Dave Donaldson. It will be busy. This is The Huddle, community created on Shaw TV.
The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of the station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.
The Huddle is brought to you by Canadians Destination Centre Fort Garry, Tavern United Fort Garry, a new World Sports Pub. Watch your favorite games on 2 brand new 70-inch monitors on our patio located at 1824 Pembina Highway in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Huddle. Scott Taylor, John Mackey, Director of Football, my co-host, and Director of Football Operations. I love your title.
Yep.
My assumption
Director of all football
yeah,
things.
so if it says football on it, you're going to do it.
That's right.
Yeah, I've been a boss before. I know what it's like to delegate authority. and you got it. We have a great show today. We're going to talk to Dave Patrician. Mm-hmm. David is our informal Bomber correspondent. It might be formal. He's our Bomber correspondent for the Huddle magazine. He went out and got the long tour from Jeffrey Bannon, our good friend out at the Bombers, of the new stadium, the Investors Group Field.
The monstrosity on campus.
It's spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
Says it is absolutely spectacular. We're going to talk to David for a couple of segments. He's got lots to talk about. He had a great tour. And then we'll have David's big feature in the next issue of the Huddle. Excellent. So it'll be outstanding. We're also going to talk to a couple of Fort Garry Lions who are going off to St. Paul's to play high school football. Big step for them. Mm-hmm. 2 real good kids who are going to play in the Red River Cup.
That's right.
With Team West, Quibus and Gates. Gates McGrath and Quibus Jacobs, 2 really good guys. Really enjoyed their time with us. It's a big show.
I can't wait.
This is a big show. So stay with us. Lots of football coming up. This is The Huddle, community created on Shaw TV. They're getting serious about this trip to Moncton. They're going to give everybody a good look. And Haim kicks kind of a knuckleball that is a problem for St. Pierre. It was touched, and it's taken into the end zone by Kai Madsen. It's going to be a touchdown for Team Gold. St. Pierre's trying to plead his case to the officials that he didn't touch the football, but it's being called a fumble and a touchdown for Kai Madsen. Welcome back to The Huddle. As promised, Dave Patrician is here. You may not know him, but he's reading his own stuff. Dave Patrician is our Blue Bombers correspondent for the Huddle magazine. Also an old friend who is known around town as Dr. Football. And on thehuddle.co, he attempts to pick winners in both the CFL and the NFL and does not do as well as me.
Oh, that's not fair.
It's not meant to be fair.
You started the show. I got the shot already.
Well, I'm waiting. I'm sitting back. I know I'm going to get a couple.
I won't give you a shot.
Dave Patrician has a pretty major piece coming up in the next issue of The Huddle, which comes out first or second week of June. And I've read it, so I have a bit of a head start. But it's a tremendous piece on the new Investors Group Field. And without giving away all the punchlines, it's going to be a pretty spectacular place.
Absolutely correct. I went through last week of April with my hard hat and my steel-toed boots, and it was one of those things where it looked like it was ready to go. All I noticed was there's still snow on the field because it was the end of April. But Jeffrey Bannon, the brand manager,
great guy.
yeah,
tremendous guy.
Brand manager of the Bombers took me through, and we went through, and I mean, we went right from the bowels of the stadium right to the top of the press box where the elitist will sit, like yourself, watching the games. I mean, I'm going to be sitting in the stand, so I took it from a fan's perspective.
But you have the best seats in the house.
I think I do.
Yeah.
I really think I do, and I don't think there's a.
But there isn't a bad seat in the building, is there?
No.
I mean, when I was out there, I was walking around, and I like the way they did the upper deck. It's really kind of steep. It's not steep that it's uncomfortable steep, but it's steeper than most upper decks, so you don't keep going back farther from the field. It feels like even if you're at the back row, you've got a pretty nice view looking right down on the field.
Yeah, and I think understated is the whole stadium is bowl style, and it's like in the old stadium when I sat in my seat, I looked directly across. at the other person. And if you were sitting in section S, you looked at the old baseball.
It was like the old Winnipeg Arena too. As you looked at the red line instead of looking at the center line.
Right, where everything's kind of curved. Right? So no matter where you're sitting, you're looking at the field, and that's the most amazing part. And like you said, when you're in the, they don't like to call it upper deck. They call it the 200 level, and you're not yodeling mountain climbing up there, and you're not going to need oxygen. Or what I noticed last time when I did go to the upper decks for concerts, there was that round and round and round, and you didn't think you were getting out, and you're getting claustrophobic and stuff. And now it just seems to be very, very the ease of operation. There's elevators, escalators. There's all kinds of routes to get to the top. But and when you're in there, it is just an absolutely phenomenal facility. Not only the seats, but the room. Like, we're big guys. And I was kind of wedged into that. In fact, in the the old stadium, I had to watch what I was eating and drinking into there because I might not got out of the seat. I could have gained weight, and they might have had to wedge me out with some oil or something. But now it's comfortable. There's leg room. There's a cup holder, which is kind of overrated because really, you hold your own cup. You don't need someone else to hold your cup for you. But anyway, nonetheless. And up and ease and up and down and staircases and the view in the field is absolutely spectacular. Jumbo video boards, the ribbon going around. They were testing the sound system when I was there. I didn't put it in my story, but it's gonna be absolutely loud, and the fan's gonna be right on top. Washroom facilities, because we all remember the old washroom at
what washroom? There was one, wasn't there?
Well, there was. I discovered in my last year, I've been going to games since 1983. One's in the north end zone that actually had heat and running warm water. But other than that, you had to bring your own Purell. You brought a lot of amenities, and sometimes, you might have had to wear a Depends because you weren't going to get into the bathroom. And for the ladies, it was even worse. Right, because there was, that's true. When it was built in the 50s, really, men just went to games, and anyone who ever went to Bon Jovi knew that was just absolutely a disgrace at the old stadium. But there's a lot of washrooms, and people are moaning and crying about the loss of the trough. But I went into the washrooms because I was looking around. Yeah, the Winnipeg institution, the trough, right? They're still moaning.
By the way, when they sold all the stuff at the old stadium, did you buy the trough?
No, I didn't buy the trough. There isn't enough bleach in the world to get me into to buy something
other
like
guests on our show today apparently bought the trough.
They did.
We found out today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not really.
Really quickly, when you were in there, and did you get into the locker rooms?
Yes,
Brian Doby said that his locker room for the Bisons will be the best locker room in all of the CIS, and probably a better locker room than every other team has in the Canadian Football League. And that's the Bisons room.
It is just, I would say, just a tad smaller than the Blue Bomber locker room, and the Blue Bomber locker room is probably one of the biggest rooms I've ever been in. And I've been in a few dressing rooms in my time in different football stadiums, and this was on par with your Major League Baseball locker rooms in terms of thing. And then the trainer's room with the weights, the pools, the full facilities, and then just down the hallway is the Bison's locker room, and it's just absolutely spectacular. And they've got classroom setups for their meetings, and it is just a tremendous facility, and everybody that's going to set foot in that place is going to be gasping for breath, because compared to where we came from, and this will be the jewel of the CFL. I don't know what they're going to end up building in Regina, but they're going to have a tough act to beat, because this is on par with some of the NFL buildings that we've been to, of course, on to scale, because the NFL seats 60 or 70,000 people, but
or 80,000 or 100,000.
Exactly, and this is but underneath, crawling around in there, like you and I both been in the old Bomber locker room, and even before, when they expanded.
I can still smell the old Bomber locker room.
Yeah, and then the visitors one.
Of course, it never smelled as bad as the director's room.
No.
That was. We're going to come back.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more about the stadium and a little bit about the Bombers coming up this year, because training camp starts in about, 12 days?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to start quickly. This is The Huddle. It's community created on Shaw TV.
Hi, I'm Don Onamaso, number 93 of the Edmonton Eskimos, and you're watching The Huddle, community created on Shaw TV.
Okay, it's your first day, and you need to know that nearly a quarter of all workplace injuries are hand injuries. So watch your fingers.
Safe workers aren't born, they're trained. That's why there's safe work.
Okay, there's a lot to do today, but we're going to start you off simple because it's your first day. Change all the burned out light bulbs, okay? And be careful.
Safe workers aren't born, they're trained. That's why there's safe work.
Welcome back to The Huddle. Scott Taylor, Dave Patrician. We're talking about the Bombers' new stadium. I have to ask you this because I have to. Parking.
You know, I don't get too excited about parking. I mean, I had it pretty easy for the last since the 90s. You know, I'd park at my local favorite local restaurant, and then just basically listen for O Canada, and I could dance across the street and get there. But you know, it's not the same. I mean, I go to Vikings games on quite a regular basis, and if I'm not taking the train from the Mall of America, I'm parking, and anywhere it's costing me anywhere from $25 to $50, depending on how close.
Where are you parking? Because there's a great parking garage that's city owned. That's 3 blocks from the Metrodome for $15.
But it takes you 3 weeks to get out after the game if you're on the fourth level or something like that. But I park and usually I've done a little bit of shopping at the Mall of America, so there's all my stuff in the car, so I want to have a good spot.
Yeah, I'm not asking about the cost. The cost of parking is the cost of parking. The question I have is, you've got 5,000 spots in the entire campus.
Right.
About 4,000 are gone. Maybe 4,500 by now. The cost is $210, and that's not a lot of money. It's $20 a pop or $22 a pop for game.
Yep.
The money isn't the issue.
No.
The issue is you have 33,000 seats.
Yep.
You've sold 24,000 season tickets.
Yep.
You need a 9,000 walk-up to get there.
Yep.
How is that going to chase walk-up away if they don't have any place to park their car? Because with only 5,000 seats, if you go with 2 people in a car, you're at only 10,000 of 24,000. It's going to be a very, very interesting opening night.
I don't think that the parking will be an issue. There's going to be a lot of parking on Pembina Highway. There's going to be a lot of businesses that are going to open up their lots to that. I don't think getting to the game is going to be an issue. What I'm kind of nervous about is leaving the game, because you're going to have, if you have a sellout, 33,500 people, even if you had 5,000 cars on the University of Manitoba campus.
Yeah, well,
there's only 2 roads out, right?
Yeah, but I'm going to disagree with you here. I think, and here's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is so few people that go to the games as walk-up ticket buyers, as your 9,000 final ticket buyers, are in tune necessarily with everything the Bombers do. Season ticket holders will know what the parking rules are.
Yes.
The people who own their parking passes will know what the parking rules are.
Yes.
The average casual fan who goes once or twice a year may not know what the rules are. And I think the Bombers had better be prepared for just a monster first night.
Well, I agree, but I mean, you know, as I stated in my article on the Huddle, I mean, there's been for years Winnipeg Transit has offered free rides to the games. Now, and you're right, you're
not a bus taker.
But here's the thing: like, how many people were just kind of wandering around Polo Park in the past and went, "Hey, there's a Bomber game on, let's go." I mean, it's a destination thing. You've got your mind set on going to the Bomber game, and you're going to figure it out. Like, and myself, I'm kind of one of those nervous Nelly Parkers. I want to get a spot. I want to get there. I want to get in. You know, I don't want them to start without me. So I figured it out. So I'm probably, you know, investing a couple of hours extra to get to a game, and I think people will plan it. I think there's going to be that goal.
Oh, I think season ticket holders will, and I think the people with their parking passes will do that.
Yeah.
But people with parking passes is 5,000 people of 33,000 seats.
5,000 cars.
5,000 cars.
You know, and I was just talking to my friend Trevor. Like,
we don't do a lot of carpooling in Winnipeg.
But my friend Trevor has a van. He's talking about taking 7 people. And we talked about the cost of that. Well, we used to park at Hooters before, and we spent $100 at Hooters a night at those games before. So parking last year cost us $1,000.
Yeah, but you got something for it.
Yeah, but we're going to get a great football team and a great stadium this time.
Yeah, speaking of a great football team, how are they going to do?
I think they're going to do great. I really think. I think Coach Burke seems to be on the right track. I think the assistant coaches all seem to be in mesh. I think they've drafted well. I think they haven't lost the kind of players they lost the year before. Not to much of the fault of the Blue Bombers at that time, contrary to the small public that seems to me have the largest voice. But I think they're going to do great. I'm really nervous about the Hamilton Ticats, you know, with Ken Austin in charge. Montreal, they're going to go through a pivotal transition year with the loss of Coach Trustman. And I think it was just lightning in a bottle with the Toronto Argonauts last year. I don't think they're going to have that same success this year. So
I'm going to hold you to that.
All right.
Because every week we'll pick the winners or the losers.
Okay.
On the Huddle.co. Dave Patrician, who is our Blue Bomber correspondent in the Huddle magazine, he's got a great piece on Investors Group Field coming up in the next Huddle magazine, which will be out the first or second week of June. This is the Huddle. Thanks, David.
You're welcome.
It's community created on Shaw TV.
You're listening to 500 JBL speakers right now with 27 clusters. This is on 1. This is on 1. I'm in charge. I will go as loud as I can. I live in Garden City. I want my mother-in-law to hear it.
The Huddle is brought to you by Canadians Destination Centre Fort Garry, Tavern United Fort Garry, a new world sports pub. Watch your favorite games on 2 brand new 70-inch monitors on our patio located at 1824 Pembina Highway in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
So Whitnick with less than 30 seconds to play. Back to pass. Gets some time, throws it into the end zone, going up to make the catch. He's got it for a touchdown. There'll be a pass interference call against the defense, but a tremendous catch by Taylor Morgan, the little receiver out of the Pembina Valley Crusaders, and we have our first touchdown of the ball game. A real nice pass by Whitnick, but more importantly, a great catch by Taylor Morgan, the little receiver out of Pembina. And down to kick that convert will be Drennan Bush. Again, special teams, you got to count the players. Didn't practice enough special teams during the 4 days of camp for this All-Star game. So Bush gets it lined up. Down, up, and it's good. Yeah, welcome back to the Huddle. Scott Taylor along with, to my far right, a pretty good linebacker from what I understand, Gates McGrath, yes, Fort Garry Lions, and to my immediate right, a running back with the most interesting name I know today, Quibus Jacobs. Yeah. And I got to start with, where did Quibus come from?
It came from South Africa. We shortened my name from Johannes to Quibus because it was easier to say, in a way, I guess.
Easier to say for who? Not your folks.
I don't know.
Johannes is a great name.
I guess
it's a great South African name.
Yep.
You've taken up football, but when you came here, you were a young guy. You were a really young guy. But you took up football. Why football, and where did you start, and why did you start?
I started at Fort Garry Lions, first year Adam. So
that's 7, right?
I think so, yeah.
So you've played a long time for a 14-year-old football player. So you started as an Adam at 7, and then?
And then we just kept playing through Fort Garry for a couple years, and now moving on to St. Paul's in grade 9.
Were you always a running back, or did they have you play someplace else?
I played a lot of positions. I've played DB, linebacker, safety, fullback, slot back, and wide receiver.
So you've been all over the offense?
Yeah.
Not like your buddy who's a defensive player. I always ask this of guys who started as defensive players. Is it because you'd rather be the hammer than the nail?
Yeah, I like to hit people.
That's always the answer I get from everybody that plays on defense. Tell us your background, Gates, and why you started playing, because neither one of you guys is particularly large.
No, I started out first year Adam with the LaSalle Lightning, and I played there for 2 years.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Then I went to Fort Garry, and I played there for 3 years. And now I'm going to St. Paul's. This will be my 6th year.
That's a lot of football for a guy who's just 14 years old.
Yep.
Why linebacker? Where did you start?
I don't know. I started out as a corner kind of, and then I worked my way into defensive halfback. I played a bit of safety, and then I played outside linebacker, right, and then I decided I liked middle linebacker a bit better.
Yeah, you have a little more control in the middle too, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun to play, and you get to hit a lot more.
Yes.
Guys, what do you take in school? I mean, so you're going to St. Paul's, so academics clearly become an important part of what you're going to do every day. It stops being just football and grade school and all those sorts of things. What are you looking to get out of school?
I'd like to be a lawyer when I grow up.
Perfect. That's why we need more lawyers on the show.
Yeah.
You can help us out later on. Quiz?
I want to play in the NFL. Yeah.
I think it's a terrific goal. I think everybody who wants to play football wants to play at the highest possible level they can play at.
Yeah.
What do you need to do to get there?
Well, I first need to work my way down into the States, get my name there, and then...
I was going to say the first thing you need to do is get a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I need to grow a little. My knees hurt, so hopefully I'm growing.
Hopefully you are growing. Guys, it's great to have you on. Terrific. You're outstanding. Gates McGrath and Quibus Jacobs, 2 members of the Fort Garry Lions who are moving on to the St. Paul's Crusaders, and you're also going to play in the Red River Cup for Team West, the Under-16 championship, which goes in July. We'll get you on again before that Red River Cup starts. We'll talk about the big tournament. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank
coming.
you.
And don't forget, we're going to go live outside of the studio for a very, very rare thing, but a good thing. We're going to go. We're going to talk flag football. Preview of the 2013 flag football season coming right up on the Huddle, community created on Shaw TV.
Hi, I'm Andrew Harris of the BC Lions. You're watching the Huddle, community created on Shaw TV.
Lungo filaccio, triste sartaccio, fila, fila, ma che vuoi filare? Senza punta l'ago non può andare, troppo filo te l'ha fatto far, ed ora non puoi più filare. Hai filato giorno e notte con giacchette e pantaloni, sotto vesti e gonelloni pura sera.
Welcome back to the Huddle. Scott Taylor, Dave Donaldson. What the ref?
Hey, Scott.
How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good to see you. I see you have a new job.
What?
You're a coach at the University of Winnipeg now.
Oh, the adjunct.
Adjunct coach.
Adjunct. That's the term. Yeah,
that's the term.
What does that mean?
You're not really hired there. You're just a guy who kind of hangs around and coaches.
So no free massage.
No free. No, you're not getting any of the free stuff.
Glenn Berger, I remember him.
Yeah, well,
he's over there. He said I get that.
Yeah, it's great to see Glenn every now and again. But they'll probably let you use the gym if you want to play a little basketball.
Well, football, hopefully.
Yeah.
Twice a week for like 8 months of the year.
Well, that's what you're going to do over there, isn't it?
That's the plan.
You're going to be a football coach.
Well, for the inner city youth football program.
Yeah, it's still your football program.
Yeah.
We're going to talk rules today. Last week we talked about the inner city football program. This week we're going to talk about pass interference. And I think that there is some confusion again because too many people watch the National Football League.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and the difference between contact and no contact and the amount of yardage you have to give, explain.
Yeah, so we're going to talk illegal contact, right? So for amateur football, even Canadian football, this is a review for us. We've gone over this before, Scott. But for football is about to start, season's about to get going. So let's just talk about our game, which is a passing game. Defensive backs, you don't give 5 yards. You can't jam a receiver at 5 yards. Unless you actually have your position set in place already.
In the NFL, you get to 5 yards to continue to jam a receiver.
From what I understand,
yes, that's true.
I only know the rules in our league because that's my focus.
A good thing.
Yeah, I don't want to get confused myself, right? So to be quite frank, for us it's 1 yard. So 1 yard off the ball, defensive back can put his hands on the receiver and jam him. After that, he's got to get his hands off of him. Unless he's got position. Now, let's say the defensive back is running, or the receiver's running up on the defensive back. It can be 20 yards downfield. As long as he's holding his position, he's not reaching out.
Right.
And there's a bit of collision and contact. It's actually legal. I'm not encouraging that, right? So I'm not telling guys, defensive backs at home, to make sure you got your base so that if you're within your base, you can
I guess my biggest question about this, though, is with all of the motion now in the CFL going toward the line, so many receivers, especially inside receivers, are lining up 20 yards back and taking off.
Right.
So you're not seeing a whole lot of that jamming anyway.
Well,
in those situations.
Well, let's refer to you, the Bombers, Suber and Hefty, because they're inside defensive players. They're very physical players, but you'll notice. Yeah, they're not doing it 1 yard off. Sometimes they got their hands on the receivers 5 yards downfield, and you're not seeing any calls. Sometimes you do. As long as they have their space first identified, and the receiver comes into their area, they're allowed to put their hands on them because they're protecting themselves. Yeah. Right? So
that's the way the rule reads.
That's the way the rule. So the rules are black and white.
They're not always called that way.
But, there's judgment in play, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why I love the game.
And that's why we love having you. Dave Donaldson, what the ref? Thanks for coming. Adjunct coach. We'll be back. We got lots more coming up. This is The Huddle. Stay with us.
What does that mean again?
Adjunct.
What does it mean?
I'm Teague Sherman of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You're watching The Huddle on Shaw TV.
Only Health Check has the Heart and Stroke Foundation's dietitians behind it. Check for Health Check, helping you make healthy choices.
Let's go, let's go! touched the ball before it went out, Coach.
Come on, Alex. The ref did not call that. It's a championship game.
I touched it. It's their ball.
Don't foul them when they inbound. Alex. Good call.
Sportsmanship. Pass it on.
Wow. That was a great show.
I think that was interesting.
I think that Dave Patrician, talking about the new stadium. Now, you've been in to see what the Bisons have in that stadium. Brian Dobie tells me that they're the best CIS facilities in all of Canada. Would you agree?
Absolutely. You know, moving from where we were.
Well, you were in a corrugated metal box.
In the chicken coop, you know, more affectionately known as the Butler Hut. You know, moving into this monstrosity, it's unbelievable. The kids get first-class everything from the meeting rooms. We even have our own kitchens.
Okay, so wait a second. Yeah, but wait a minute. Are you going to be spoiled by this? Because you won a Vanier Cup in the Butler Hut.
That's right.
I mean,
that rhymes.
It does, but I mean, you were a Canadian champion in one of the worst facilities in the country. Right. Let's not lie; it was awful. Now you're into the best facility in the country. Does this make the Bisons better?
I think it builds
soft.
I think it builds a bit of a tradition. We can always say as coaches that what we were in and now what you guys are in, and not only that, but it's a culture changer in the program.
Sure.
These guys feel like they're professionals now. You know, it's first class stuff. They have their own locker rooms. It's crazy.
Yeah, when you get first class, you better play first class.
Exactly, and you know, Coach Dobie has talked to us about changing the culture, meaning from pointing your helmet a certain way in the locker room. You know, it's getting down to that. You know, where we're first class operation now, and we have to act like that. And of course, you know, the product on the field has to follow through.
It does.
So, but you know, I got to tell you
about that. So you as quarterbacks coach has a little bit of pressure too.
Absolutely. There's always pressure on quarterbacks. Either the coaches or the players, it's always pressure. But I got to tell you one thing about the locker room. There is a big Bison logo.
Is there a Bison hat big enough to fit that head?
There's a big Bison logo in the middle of our locker room.
Exactly.
And it's a tradition in Bison football not to step on the Bison logo. And the first time that it was in there, it was all covered in dust and sawdust and stuff. And Evan Gill,
one of the great players.
One of the great players on our team went and scrubbed that Bison. Everybody is buying in. I am super excited to see it. Nobody's going to walk on the Bison in the locker room. It's still a tradition. It continues on. I'm excited to have this season come up.
It's going to be a great stadium. Just going to be a great place. And if you don't get Bomber tickets, go to the Bison games. It'd be tremendous too. It'd be a great opportunity to get inside the stadium and really relax, sit back and enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
It'll be great fun. We've got another busy show next week. It'll be episode 30, our 30th show. We're there already.
30?
30 is next week.
We should bring the cake in.
Yeah, you should. This is The Huddle. It's community created on Shaw TV. See you next week. That's John Mackey.
The Huddle is brought to you by Canadians Destination Centre Fort Garry, Tavern United Fort Garry, a new World Sports Cup. Watch your favorite games on 2 brand new 70-inch monitors on our patio located at 1824 Pembina Highway in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
The opinions expressed on the program you have just watched are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of this station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.
It's nighttime in a kitchen just like yours. All is quiet. Or is it? The North American house hippo is found throughout Canada and the eastern United States. House hippos are very timid creatures and are rarely seen, but they will defend their territory if provoked. They come out at night to search for food, water, and materials for their nests. The favorite foods of the house hippo are chips, raisins, and the crumbs from peanut butter on toast. They build their nests in bedroom closets, using lost mittens, dryer lint, and bits of string. The nests have to be very soft and warm. House hippos sleep about 16 hours a day.
That looked really real, but you knew it couldn't be true, didn't you? That's why it's good to think about what you're watching on TV and ask questions, kind of like you just did. A message from Concerned Children's Advertisers.
Thank you, dear.
You make
make me feel so young.
Think young. Pass it on.
You make me feel so spring.